Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In case this is your first time watching my videos, my name is Stav. This is my channel, She Equips Herself, and today we're going to be talking about things that you shouldn't do just because you have a gun on you. Something that I'm really interested in, if you've been following me for a bit, is the lifestyle of concealed carry. I have a whole online course about it. I talk about it all the time on my channel, but I really wanted to get into this topic because I know that sometimes people have a distorted mentality when it comes to carrying a gun, and your mentality around carrying a gun is extremely important and will shape the way that you carry, how you respond to certain situations. So that's why I wanted to get into this topic today. Before I get into the first one, I have an important announcement. Mac and I have been working on our Practical Handgun Academy, which is our live fire online course that you do on your own time. I sent out an email to my email list about it yesterday, giving you an update. If you're not on my email list yet, I'll add the link down below in the description, as well as a link for a wait list for Practical Handgun Academy so that you can stay updated and know exactly when it launches. I'm thinking of doing a giveaway on launch day, so add yourself to that wait list so that you don't miss any information, even if you're just curious about learning more about the Practical Handgun Academy. All right, let's get into it. So the first scenario I want to talk about is going somewhere sketchy, just because you have a gun on you now. And this doesn't only apply to women, but I'm going to use like the female running scenario as an example. Say I like to go running. I don't really, but if I did, and I normally run in the mornings or the afternoons, but then I start carrying a gun. Now I might think I could defend myself if someone attacked me at night when it's a little less safe to run, so maybe I can just start running at night. If you weren't gonna do that before you had a gun, you shouldn't do it after you have a gun. You shouldn't put yourself into dangerous situations just because you have a way to respond to it. Ideally, you want to never have to use your gun. I don't ever want to have to use my gun. Thank God I haven't had to use it yet. I hopefully never will. I'm glad I have that ability in case something happens, but I never want to have to use it. So I'm not gonna put myself in a dangerous situation just because I have a way to respond to it now. The same goes with like walking through a sketchy neighborhood or going down an alley you never would have gone down if you didn't have a gun. And this can be something that we don't really think about. So that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention. Maybe it's something you never thought about. Or you just had that mentality where now I can respond to this situation if I'm under the threat of death or serious bodily harm. So I can put myself in these situations. You shouldn't do something that you wouldn't have done if you didn't have a gun on you. I'm not saying don't run at night. If you run at night, that's fine. Just be aware of where your mind is when it comes to these scenarios. Are you doing something now that you're carrying a gun that you wouldn't have done before just because you have a gun on you? It's something really important to think about and know where your head's at. That's horrible grammar. Okay, the second thing is to not back down when you should. This comes with like ego, and I don't know if this is more of a guy thing, but if you're in a situation where someone's like in your face or there's some sort of drama starting, I think this is especially important if you do carry a gun, that you should not put yourself in that situation or stay in that situation. If a situation's getting elevated where people are getting angry and upset and it might turn physical, you need to get yourself out of there. Oh, hello. Maybe you could have stuck around before you had a gun, but now you have a gun. So every situation you go into, you're bringing a lethal tool into that situation. That's something that my husband always said in his classes, and I loved it. Because you have to be aware of what could transpire if you stay in that situation. So get yourself out of a situation that's getting a little elevated, and this also applies to if you're not carrying a gun. You just shouldn't be in situations where things are getting heated. Get yourself out of there, let everybody involved cool down, get yourself out of that situation. Forget your ego, forget what people are gonna think of you. The most important thing is for you to be safe and not get into a dangerous situation. And that kind of goes into the third thing I wanna mention that you shouldn't do just because you have a gun, and that's road rage. People get so heated behind the wheel, I don't know what it is. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't get a little frustrated every once in a while I'm driving. You don't know what someone else has going on in their life. if they cut you off and they're being rude, just back off. Like, don't get involved in that. That's another ego thing. Like, your ego says, they shouldn't have done that to me. I deserve better than someone treating me like that. It's like me, me, me. Just put that aside, because there's been so many incidents, I'm sure you can find them on YouTube, of road rage where it turns into someone shooting at someone else, and it's not worth it. I know that our frustration and anger can get the best of us sometimes, but being able to control yourself and just letting it go, which sounds easy now that I'm saying it, but sometimes in the moment it's not. It's super important though, especially if you have a gun. You don't want to bring that into a situation. Avoid road rage at all costs. Okay, this next one is one that my husband brought up when I was telling him about this video. He said I should talk about not clearing break-ins, and I thought that that was an interesting point because my husband's a police officer, and the first time I heard him give this advice was during his home defense class that I took years ago. But it's great advice. Sometimes we think that now because I have a gun on me, I can do X, Y, and Z, but that doesn't mean that you should do X, Y, and Z. So let me kick you a scenario. You come home from work and your front windows are broken, or your front door is wide open, and you take a peek in maybe and there's stuff everywhere. You might want to draw your gun and go around your house looking for Mr. Bad Guy. Is that the best decision though, if you really think about it now, ahead of time, before you're in that situation, God forbid? No. Call the police. Why are you gonna get yourself in that situation? Mila wants to say hi. Oh, you look so big on camera all of a sudden, Mila. Oh my goodness, okay. So call the police if something like that happens. There's no need for you to go in there unless you know that there are people in there that could be in danger. That's a different story. But if you know no one's home and you're just worried about someone stealing your TV, it is not worth it. You could get yourself into a gunfight, or you could get yourself hurt somehow. Just call the police. That's what they're there for. But again, that's something that you might not have thought of. Like, oh, I have a gun now, so I can just go in and take care of things. That might not always be the best thing to do. All right, the last thing I want to talk about kind of goes hand in hand with the first one I spoke about. And that's doing something that you wouldn't normally do if you didn't have a gun. And that's not just like going to sketchy places, but that's like getting into a car with a strange man because he offered you a ride, and I have a gun on me, so if something happens, I can defend myself. If you wouldn't do that before you had a gun, or if you didn't have your gun on you, you probably shouldn't be doing it now. I know a lot of people buy things off like Facebook Marketplace now, or off the internet. If you wouldn't meet up with a stranger in a parking garage before you had a gun on you, you probably should not be doing it now. And I know that that thought might enter our minds as gun owners, like, sure, I'll meet him there because if something happens, I can respond to it. But the gun shouldn't give us a false sense of security. Yes, it's a tool that we can use to keep ourselves safe, but we shouldn't be putting ourselves in situations where we might need it on purpose. It's there just in case we get into a situation, but we shouldn't put ourselves in dangerous situations on purpose. So I hope this gave you guys something to think about. Let me know if I missed anything. These are only a few little thoughts I had on this topic. I know there's a lot more we can say. So leave me a comment below and let me know. And also make sure you join the waitlist for the Practical Handgun Academy. It's gonna be so cool. I'll do a video on it soon that shows you how it works. But it's basically video lessons you watch, and then you can take a downloaded or printed worksheet that we're going to give you for the lessons. You take those to the range and practice what you're learning, all to get you more comfortable to handle a self-defense type situation. It really covers all sorts of topics: shooting with one hand, shooting from all sorts of different positions, drawing and shooting from a holster, everything. So it's great. Join the waitlist, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Bye. Bye-bye.